YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my college football picks for week 10 of this season. Can't believe how far along we are in the season. Crazy how fast it's going. But things are starting to heat up. We see the upsets. We see the big games coming along. Plenty of them this week. We got you covered every week. We also have college football rankings every week. That video is up, so go check it out. And we do similar videos and more for the NFL all year long, so check that out as well. But we're trying to get to that 40K subscriber goal, so please help us out by subscribing to our channel. Full NFL and college football content. We got the draft coverage in the offseason as well as NFL free agency, so feel free to subscribe. Go ahead and click that like button. Check us out on Twitter, Goathouse NFL, tweeting during live games. But to our group, who's leading the group? Well, it's still the same guy. It's Rock Bama with a 408 total, very impressive. And then the only guy only person that has any chance of catching him, it feels like right now, is going to be Barry 1, who has a total of 400, who's still 8 spots below. But after that, there's a bit of a gap. So super impressive few guys at the top, but really the only ones that feel like they have a chance right now, but you never know, is the two guys at the top. But somebody's got to catch Rock Bama. But let's go to the picks this week. I'm going to make the picks, then we're going to reorder the confidence level, and then we'll take a look at the other games that aren't on here, and we'll take a look at some spreads real quick towards the end here. Michigan with an impressive win over Notre Dame last week. Maybe they got some things going. We saw them at the end of the Penn State game kind of come back, and I couldn't really tell if Michigan has figured something out because it looked like even a different Michigan offense, or was it just garbage time? And they show some similar things against Notre Dame in the downpour. They show some legit toughness too. So maybe Michigan figured some things out here. I'm definitely going with Michigan on this one. Maryland started the year off pretty hot, and they've been really cold lately. NC State and Wake Forest. I like Wake Forest. That one loss is tough against Louisville. Almost had to come back. But other than that, they've had a pretty darn good season. So I'm going to take Wake Forest there. NC State just lost too many top-tier talent the last 2 years, it feels like. TCU and Oklahoma State, two teams, a little disappointing. I expected them both a little better than they are right now. But the Big 12, they got some teams stepping up. Some schools definitely stepping up better than expected. So maybe it's a better conference than expected. I'm going to take Oklahoma State at home. Should be a good game here. Good Big 12 battle. You never know what's going to happen with those ones. Georgia and Florida. It's in a neutral site, but it's in Jacksonville, so not too far from Gainesville there. So may feel like more of a home game from Florida, depending on how the fans travel. I know not too far of a travel for the Georgia fans. I know it's a real good fan base, so that definitely could shift things for sure, depending on whose fan base showed up more. But that's a tough game to pick. I've been a little disappointed with Georgia this year. Just not enough offense, which I kind of said in the preseason. I wasn't expecting enough offense. I love DeAndre Swift. Andrew Thomas is one of the top-tier players in the NFL draft. There's just not enough explosive plays besides Swift. But I think they can start to figure it out here. This is kind of like the stretch of the season where they start to figure it out. Florida's been more impressive than expected, especially since they have a backup quarterback in Trask and a guy who hasn't even started since freshman year of high school. I think that's ridiculous. I'm gonna go with Florida. I guess I'm basing it a little bit off of how the teams played this year. I think the Florida Gators have been way more impressive. But like I said, this is kind of the time of year where Georgia starts figuring things out, so that makes it that much more interesting. But kind of based off how I've seen them play, Florida's been a little more impressive. But that's gonna be a darn good ball game there. Miami and Florida State. Man, two very inconsistent teams. That might be one of the toughest ones to pick this week. Give me the Hurricanes. Hard to pick Florida State, what they got going on these days, but that might be my one confidence. Utah and Washington. I really like this Utah team. They're really executing well on both sides of the ball, and they're really coming along. It's still surprised they do have one loss. I figured they'd be undefeated, but it was a tough one. Zach Moss going down in that game against USC. Washington is much better than their record and the no rank next to their name. They're a top 25 team when it's all said and done, but because of how they played in their record, they're not, and I understand that. But this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a darn good game. A believer in Jacob Eason. Washington's defense, maybe not as good as the last couple of years, but still pretty darn good. I think Utah is just rolling, and they're just a more complete team. I'm going to take them, but that's going to be a heck of a game right there. Can't count out the Huskies. SMU in Memphis. Man, this should be a good one too. And this is the ABC game at 7:30. Wow. That's the game we got to predict the score on. So that's crazy. 8-0 SMU, 7-1 Memphis. Hard to pick against the Mustangs right now. I know Memphis can win that at home. I'm going to take SMU, though. That offense is really getting going. Virginia and North Carolina, two teams a little disappointing. I guess North Carolina, we didn't expect too much first year of Mac Brown, but the way they started, kind of expected a little more by now. Virginia, I expected more. Preseason, I thought they'd be a better team. They got a lot of talent. I'm going to take North Carolina at home there. And another tough one, Oregon and USC. USC is much better than their record shows. Oregon should be much better than they actually are. I think they have a tremendous talent. I mean, we see the recruits they get too. I'm going to take Oregon because of the better team, but Trojans definitely can spoil the Ducks' playoff hopes there for sure. BYU and Utah State. Two teams that I'd say definitely BYU that they're better than their record shows. Very tough schedule. Same with Utah State. It's a pretty tough schedule for who they are. Jordan Love's got to step up. He hasn't been too impressive the last couple weeks. Most people taking Utah State. I'm gonna take BYU here. I think BYU's defense gets the job done. And SMU and Memphis score prediction. Wasn't ready for this one. This one's throwing me off guard here. I think we get somewhat of a shootout. I think we can get a 42 to 37. Top of my head right there. A high scoring game. Reorder the confidence. Like I said, I want to throw Miami and Florida State at 1 right away. We're going to throw, let's see, Virginia and North Carolina might have to go to 2. And we're going to put BYU, Utah State to 3. TCU Oklahoma State 4. Michigan's definitely, we got to bump Michigan up. Oh yeah, Georgia and Florida's definitely got to go down. We're going to keep moving Georgia, Florida. We're going to move that one back down to 3 here. Yeah, that's tough. That's a lot of tough ones this week. And then Utah's got to go down too. We're going to go 6. I mean, that doesn't feel like a 6, kind of feels like less than that, but it's pretty much got to be there. Could bump it down one more. The Oklahoma State TCU one, maybe want to bump that up. But and then SMU Memphis has got to go down as well. We're going to put that one to 6. Oregon and USC, we're going to go 8. I mean, that's not even a guarantee. There's Wake Forest, NC State. So this week is super tough, as you can see. So we're going to submit that. We'll take a look at some of the other games here for the week, and it shows us the lines when we take a look at this for the top 25 scheduled games of Week 10. West Virginia and Baylor. Baylor minus 17.5. Yeah, it's a tough one to put money on there. I think, they kind of made some games like this close. It could be closer than 17.5, but Baylor's pretty darn good team there. So that maybe inside, maybe right around 17. It's a pretty good line. Georgia Southern and Appalachian State, 15.5. Yeah, I think they can win by around 17s, give or take, in there. Those games are tricky. Appalachian State, to hold on to being undefeated right now is going to be tougher and tougher. So maybe it's a closer game than we think. Notre Dame and VTech. Notre Dame looked real bad last week. I don't know if they win that game by 17. I don't think they win that game by 17. I don't think they do it, but you never know. You never know what Notre Dame team shows up. Michigan and Maryland is a 21 spread. Michigan should take care of business there. Maybe they come back down to earth. Shea Patterson's still got to play better, even though the offense looks to get going a little bit, mainly because of the running game. So we'll see. Still got to test the waters with that Michigan team still. NC State and Wake Forest. Wake 7.5. I think they'll take care of business in that one because Wake Forest is too much offense. They're going to score no matter what. NC State just cannot keep up scoring, plain and simple. I think Wake Forest can win by at least 10 points there. Georgia and Florida. Georgia's minus 6.5. Surprised by that. That's a toss-up game, though. I just don't. If that goes to 7, I really like that. If that goes to 7, because I just don't see Florida losing by. I have them winning the game. I don't see them losing by a touchdown at all. Or they got to lose by less than a touchdown. If they do lose the game, I'm saying. Kansas State and Kansas. I could see Kansas winning this game, actually. Kansas looked real good against Texas a couple weeks ago. They're getting some offense together. Kansas State, let's be honest here. They dominated Oklahoma. I don't care what the score was at the end. They dominated them. This would be a total move just for Kansas to win this game. I'll pick Kansas State, but like I said, I can totally see Kansas win that game. That's going to be a good game, actually. Wofford and Clemson, no line. That's a strange scheduled game at this point in the season. Utah and Washington. Utah 3.5. Yeah, that's another tough one there. Probably wouldn't touch it. Auburn, Ole Miss 19. I think Auburn will cover. I think they'll win by more than 20. Cincinnati, East Carolina 24 is probably a little too much, but Cincinnati will take care of business in that game. SMU and Memphis. Memphis is -6, actually. Very interesting. So I would take SMU in that one. A lot of tough games this week. Oregon -5.5. Man, Oregon should have no problem there, but you never know with them. You just never know. And you can see they get leads early, and they consistently let teams come back on them. So tough one. Boise State and San Jose. Boise State should take care of business there. I think about a 20-point win. Should be pretty close, though. So we'll see. Yeah, that's going to do it for the picks, though. We do this every week. We also have power rankings for college football, power rankings for NFL. We do NFL picks every week as well, along with score predictions. We also have a Patreon with a lot more content, including NFL mock drafts, updated every single week. So check that out. Link in the description for the patreon.com/thegoathouse. Please subscribe, trying to get to that 40K goal, but that's going to do it for this one, everyone. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.